Welcome to another episode of It Had to Be Said podcast, where we say out loud what you think in private. No topic is off limits. And in today's podcast, we're going to be asking the question, is there really any benefit to being a stepdad? There was a young lady who asked that question, and here's what her thoughts was on that.
So I know a lot of women don't want to hear this, but in reality, there's really no benefits to a man being a stepfather. There really isn't. There's no benefits to a man coming into your life and playing the father role to another man's child. So if this is the case where a man decides to choose you, even though you have a child by a different man, or maybe you even have multiple kids by different men, you should be overly grateful. Instead of having a form of entitlement like, oh, I deserve this and I deserve a man that's going to be a father figure for my child. And let's just say the child's father is still in the picture, right? And this man still chooses you. At the end of the day, if he's with you, he's still going to have to play some type of father figure in the household and also help financially some type of way with that child, right? So instead of being entitled and being like, oh, well, I deserve this. No, you don't deserve anything. You need to have even more gratitude that a man even decided to take you on because you have baggage. And that's just what it is. And you know what's even more wild? I've heard of cases where women have actually married men and the man decides to be, outstanding man, and he goes and adopts her child. And then when they divorce, she'll put that man on child support for a child that wasn't even his. Like, that's not even his biological child. Y'all women are wild and y'all need to stop being entitled.
I find it kind of interesting, especially coming from a woman's point of view, right? But one of the reasons why I'm actually talking about this particular topic is because there was a video that went viral, and this video went viral of a conversation a stepdad was having with his ex-girlfriend, whose daughter he raised for the past 17 years. And, after visiting the stepdaughter, she expressed to him that she wanted him to give up his ticket so her biological dad could attend her high school graduation. Even though her biological dad has not been in her life for the past 17 years, right? I want you to listen to this, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, I got a question for you. I just left our daughter's house, your daughter's house, and she's graduating. And she was telling me that she wanted, I guess her biological father just came back into her life or whatever the case after 17 years. And she wanted him to come to the graduation. But in order for that to happen, I have to give up my ticket. And she told me that you knew something about this.
Yeah, I didn't know something about it.
And
Is that a problem?
You don't think it's a problem? Like after 17 years? Like you don't think that's a problem?
No, I don't think it's a problem at all. Because if she want her daddy back in her life, put her daddy back in her life.
So you want me, so after 17 years, this dude come around, look, he can be there. But y'all want me to give up my ticket to let him come. Don't I pay for that entire graduation? I got her first trip.
Okay, and we appreciate everything that you did. But at the end of the day, it's still gonna be her daddy, and she wants her daddy to come back in her life. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Y'all trifling as hell, man. You mean to tell me
honestly?
So what's up with you and him? Y'all back together or something? Because it has to be something to it. Because ain't no man after 17 years, ain't no man just gonna pop back up and I want to be at your graduation now. Ain't no man do it. And what type of man is he?
What you mean? What type of man is he?
Listen,
he's trying to come back in his daughter's life.
Any type of man.
I don't see nothing wrong with that.
But y'all in cahoots with trying to get me to give up my ticket that I paid for?
Come on now, ain't nobody in cahoots. It's just that she want her daddy to see her daddy graduate. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, but you brought it to her. She told me you brought it to her. You brought it. You convinced her to do that.
Because we trying to build a family. We trying to build a family.
After 17 years.
We trying to build a family.
After 17
years. Yeah, after 17 years. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Man, y'all trifling as hell, man. Straight up. You know
what?
This is what I'm going to do. Just like I told her, that apartment that I just got for her, I just went and pulled
the lease off. I pulled the lease off of it,
That graduation that I
Wow.
paid for, I'm finna go take all my money back. Matter of fact, I'm on my way there right now.
Now
I'm
that's
taking
wrong. Now that's
it ain't
trifling.
wrong.
That's trifling.
So after
Is it? You're
after
trifling.
17 years, y'all kick me to the curb,
Man,
and
come on.
that ain't trifling.
So now you're
I'm
gonna get
just
your daughter
supposed,
like that
I'm
now?
just
So
supposed to give
now
her
you
my
want-
money. I'm supposed to give her my money.
Okay.
I took care of this girl for 17 years. Saw her through all her schools. Was at
So-
all her little milestones. I was the man there.
You don't think she appreciate that?
I mean, the damn show don't
She
feel like
appreciates
it.
everything you do, but so now you're gonna do that to her?
I'm taking all
You
my
just gonna
shit.
take everything from her?
I am.
You know that, and that's what you call
I
trifling.
am. Hey, I
But
can
you
be-
so-called want to be a daddy.
I don't.
But you want to be.
That's over with.
Man, come on.
That's over with.
That's over with.
Yeah, that's over.
So you want? So you gonna be out of her life just like that?
I'm done.
Just because of the
I'm done.
graduation? Are you
No,
serious?
she told me that you convinced her to do it, and she old
And
enough.
I
But
did.
she old
And I
enough to
did.
she old enough to make her own decision. So she came to
Okay.
me and told me she wanted to give up my ticket that I paid for to a man that hasn't been there for 17 years, right? And you don't want me to be at a graduation that I paid for, the money that I worked for and I spent and paid for, and I got her first apartment, and I'm getting kicked to the curb. I'm the bad guy now.
Ain't nobody said she was getting kicked to the curb. It's just that she want her daddy to come. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with
You know
that.
what? Look, all y'all can go now, because I'm just finna take everything back, and I'm gonna
Wow.
let
So
y'all
you
handle
doing that
that.
like?
That's how it is.
Nah.
That's you know.
You wrong for that. You wrong for
I'll
that.
be wrong. I'll be wrong.
You wrong.
I'll be wrong. Don't worry about it. Hey, look, I'll tell you what. I'm about to get off this phone. I want y'all to go have a happy family together because I'm out that shit.
Oh, you wrong.
Yeah, that's right. Sure right. Like I'm supposed to just stick around and let something like this go down, man. I've been there for 17 years. Man, I ain't trying to hear that crap, man. Straight up.
Now, I want to begin by saying this. Not all single mothers are like this. All right. I can go on and I can give bad examples of stories like the one where the stepdad was paying for the entire wedding for his stepdaughter. And then the stepdaughter last minute said, you know, she wanted her biological dad to walk her down the aisle, the guy who did not participate financially in anything for the wedding. Right. So I can give a lot of bad examples like that. But, you know, the thing about it is this. I want to make it very clear. There's nothing wrong with dating a woman who is a single mother, no matter how many kids she may have. But what you have to consider if you're a man and you're deciding to get involved with a woman who has kids is, what is your expectation out of the relationship? Because when you get involved with a woman who has kids, you have to go inside, you have to get involved with that woman with a clear head and understand this. You know, is she financially able to support and take care of herself and her kids? If you get with a woman who's not able to financially support and take care of her kids, and she's on government assistance, or she has the guy on child support, and, you know, she's still not able to fully support them because she may be living in a 1-bedroom apartment and she has 2 or 3 kids, or she has a 2-bedroom apartment and she has 3 or 4 kids, you know, and you decide to get involved in that, you have to understand that, you know, you're going to be taking on a lot more responsibility or burden because as a man and you're single with no kids, you may be able to just sleep in your car if you want to save up money and you want to save up money to buy a house or start up a business. You may be able to go live in the roughest, toughest neighborhoods if possible, if you want to, in order to save up money to, you know, start up a business or until you're ready to buy a house. But once you get involved with a woman who has kids, here's what happens. If you're a good man, this is what you're going to be thinking. Well, the kids want to, you know, the kids have to be going to a good school. You know, the good schools are in good neighborhoods. Good neighborhoods are not cheap. They're pretty expensive, you know, and they're not going to let 3 to 4 people rent a 1-bedroom. You know, they're going to look at how many people are trying to move into this place, and they're going to say, well, you need to have a 3-bedroom or 2 or 3-bedroom. So now you're living in a good neighborhood, a bigger place. You got to spend more money. And if you meet somebody who's not financially able to support themselves, I mean, you have to step up and you have to take care of more things. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are some men, good men, that would decide that they're going to do that. Now, the question is this: is the woman going to be grateful for it? Is the woman going to make sure her children understand that Stepdad Joe does not have to do all this, and Stepdad Joe is stepping up and taking on more responsibility than he has to, and you guys have to respect and appreciate Stepdad Joe? I always tell single men who decide to get involved with a single mom, it's like you're a teacher. A kid goes to school, a teacher could talk to a kid and correct the kid and say, hey, you shouldn't do this because of that and this. But a teacher cannot spank the kid. Excuse me. A teacher cannot yell at the child, but you can try to correct them, but in the nicest, softest way. And it's up to the biological parent to raise her voice, or the biological parent to firmly discipline the child if there needs to be disciplining. It's not up to the stepfather. So are you going to is the person that you're getting with, are you making it very clear that, hey, look, this is my role. I'm willing to take on the role of being a protector and a provider. I need you to keep your kids in line. I need you to keep them in check. I need to make sure that I'm not being disrespected, and you need to make sure that your kids understand that they shouldn't disrespect me. I'm not their biological father, but I am the father figure in the household, you know. And sometimes you see a lot of men, they get involved with a single mother, and it's not the kid's fault. It's the person that they chose to be with fault. Like, you picked the wrong partner. You got involved with this person, and you decided to be, Captain Saver person, and this was just not the right person. And then, you get these guys, they'll go online on podcasts or just post stuff on social media and just say, you should never date a single woman, a single mother. If you date a single mother, it's just going to be horrible. The kid's going to disrespect you. The kids are going to be rude, and you're going to walk away with nothing. And that's not always the case. That's only the case when you pick the wrong woman, And like the examples that I just talked about with this guy who raised his girl for 17 years and the one with the wedding, it's not the kid's fault. It's actually the mothers, because in both cases, the mothers were the ones who really kind of pushed the kid to distance themselves away from the stepfather, or to push them towards the guy the biological father, who was a deadbeat or wasn't doing anything for them. And at the end of the day, I've always said, you have to understand something. As a step parent, the children will always pick the biological parent over the step parent, right? They have no loyalty to you as a step parent, right? So you have to be aware of that. So the biological parent, or the single mom, the way she interacts with the kids and how she raises her kids and how she talks to the kids, especially in reference to you as a stepdad, that is one of the most important parts, because that lets you know where you stand. Now, there are some awesome, beautiful stories out there where, a woman, she's with a guy, and the guy helped raise the kids, and they break up, and the woman could remarry, and this kids still come around the stepdad and look at that guy, hey, that's my dad, because he's the one who raised me, and the mother does not interfere with that. She just simply says, look, you raised my kids. They know you as their father, and things didn't work out between us. And you're still their dad, and it's a beautiful thing. But there's a lot of men out there that are very bitter, and they tell a lot of other young men, stay away from single moms, don't date single moms. And instead of them just simply saying, make sure if you're going to get with somebody, whether they have kids or not, and especially if they have kids, pick the right person. Look at their temperament. Pay attention to these things. Pay attention to how they raise their kid. Pay attention if they're family oriented, and do not try to get involved and build a family with somebody who already has kids and is not family oriented, or is not going to appreciate what you bring to the table, especially if they're in a tight, tough situation where they can't deal with things on their own. Because, being a parent is a beautiful thing. Being a dad is a beautiful thing. Whether you're a biological father or stepfather, just having, another person who relies on you and loves you and is there for you, and is there for you, and you're there for them, and they know, hey, something goes wrong, and the first person they have to call is dad. It's a beautiful thing. I've always told my kids, if something happens, before you call 911, call me. And just, because I may need to tell you, hey, you can't call 911 right now. Let me come and clean up the crime scene first before you call them. But, that is the number one thing. Call me first, and then call 911, because I need to know what's going on. And it's a beautiful thing, whether you're a biological dad or a stepdad. But you got to make sure that you choose to have kids with the right person, or you choose to start an instant family with the right person, because the kids have really nothing to do with it. The kids are molded by the biological parents, or the people that they see as their parent figure. They're molded by these people, and that's typically the biological parents. So if the biological parents' head and heart and point of view is all messed up, it can have a big influence on the children. And that can make your life a living hell. And this is why you see a lot of men saying, stay away from single moms. And, you know, and I can kind of understand why they say that, but I think they need to be very clear and just simply say, pick the right person. Pick the right woman that have kids. Don't pick the wrong person, because there's a lot of people out here that they have kids and they have no business being a parent. All right. I'm going to cut the podcast short over here because we're running well into the 15-minute mark. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good one. Thank you for listening and supporting my podcast. I would love to hear your thoughts on this particular episode. You can leave a comment on whatever platform you're listening to my podcast on. If there's a topic or viral video you'd like for me to cover, you can DM me on Instagram at It Had to Be Said Podcast. I post new episodes Tuesday and Thursday at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter.com/zip.